Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel Resilience in Mind. It's your girl V, and today we're going to be talking about the struggles of raising a child in 2025. And the reason I even thought about doing this video was because I've noticed on my timeline an increased conversation about how expensive it is to raise a child, especially if you have both parents that are trying to go back to work, and also because of this new conversation surrounding the baby bonus, where the Trump administration is thinking about offering a $5,000 lump sum to parents who have a new child. So essentially it's called the baby bonus, right? And they're also thinking about increasing the tax child credit. Right now it's about $2,000 per child. They're thinking about increasing it from $2,000 to $5,000, when you file your income taxes at the end of the year, money that you can get back just from having children. Now, while this seems good and kudos to you guys for even trying, but it's not enough if we're being honest. As somebody who has two children, for you to offer me $5,000, while it may help and I will be grateful for that help and the increase in tax child credit, it's simply not enough. It does not offset most of what you pay for having children, especially within the first 5 years of having them. You have to think about all of the expenses that come into it. And I am one of those people who would tell my friends, listen, if you want to have a child, you're never going to feel ready to have one. You're never going to feel financially stable enough to have a child. I know a lot of people are like, oh, if I have this amount, I'm going to have a kid. Then they reach that milestone. They're like, no, I need to make more. I'm not ready. I need to be in this financial position to have kids. Regardless of the financial situation, you're never truly gonna feel ready until you have them. You're never gonna truly feel like, all right, I'm ready to have kids. I can, I don't know how to explain it, but anybody who has kids could tell you, you never really feel ready and you're kind of winging it. Because there's help books and all this stuff out there, but every child is different. Every parenting style is different. So there's no one size fits all. With that being said, even when you're trying not to exceed beyond what you make, having a child in general can be very costly, whether you're one of those parents that you want your child to be Gucci down, or if you're the mom that's shopping at Target and Walmart for your baby's clothes, which there's no shame in that. Do what you got to do. As long as the baby's fed and clothed, I don't have an issue with it. So according to LendingTree, it's gonna cost approximately $297,674 over 18 years to raise a child, making that about $29,419 per year. And this number actually increased by 25% since 2023. So imagine that number going up, because we all know every year you have inflation. So every year that number is going to go up per year, making that overall 18-year amount. In over 18 years, you could probably spend $500,000 to $1 million, depending on where inflation wants to take us. Now, mind you, this is just the average. You also have your higher cost states like Hawaii, Massachusetts, and even Washington that exceeds $360,000, making your annual expenses surpassing $36,000. And like I said, that can vary. This is just the average depending on your lifestyle. And then obviously in your lower cost states, it could be as low as $18,000 per year, totaling about $200,000 over 18 years. And these will be your states like Mississippi, Alabama, and South Carolina. Like I said, these are averages. Some people spend more, some people spend less. It all depends on your lifestyle. So you have your major expense categories, which will be childcare, housing, food, healthcare, and education. Now I'm going to show you guys this video that I came across on X, and this is the video that made me even come to you guys and do this video. So I'm going to play it for you guys real quick and I'll get right back to you guys.
Well, my wife had to go back to work after our second kid, which sucks. And now we're coming up on finding daycare. So went and toured this one that we loved. A little bit of unfortunate news. When she told me the price over the phone, I thought, wow, That is fucking crazy, but if we absolutely had to make it work and it's the right place, we'll check it out. Well, the bad news is I thought that was for both our kids, but since we have a 3-year-old, yeah, that'd be $2,025 a month for him. And for our infant, just tack on another $2,470. $4,400 a month for our children to be in daycare. Go fuck yourselves, America.
So as you guys just saw in that video, this man has expressed what many Americans are struggling with, something that is very frustrating for them. Because a lot of moms want to be able to go back to work and help provide for the family because, like I said, it's expensive to raise a child. Whether you're on the higher end as far as what you make versus somebody who makes less, it's still relatively expensive. Everybody's complaining in 2025. And to have to pay $4,200 a month just in childcare, you might as well stay home. You might as well stay home. You're literally going to pay somebody else to raise your child and to instill whatever values that they have. You get home, you see your kids for a couple hours, tuck them into bed, wake them up super early, do it all over again, just for at the end of the month, maybe you make a couple $100 left over. You might as well be a stay-at-home mom and make cupcakes on the side to make that amount of money. No shade to the moms that do that. But I'm just saying, according to Fast Company, childcare costs increased by over 50% in the last 2 years in many areas. And even though things are so tight for people like that, if you're not literally piss poor, you get no type of aid from the government that'll help subsidize that cost. And it's either you take your child somewhere where it's questionable just so you can go to work, or you go to one of these more fancier daycares that has cameras and, all these different amenities and incentives for putting your child there. And we're going to do this with your child and we're going to do that. You're going to pay a pretty, $4,200, right? And now we can't overlook housing. Housing in itself, I guess it just depends, but in 2025, with the average home being about $450,000 at an almost 7% interest rate, you're gonna be paying quite a pretty penny just in rent. And rent, well, that's just in a mortgage, but if you decide to go the renting route and you get an apartment, rent a home, etc., you're still gonna pay a pretty penny. It's not like it's gonna be any cheaper, It's almost the same way as paying for a mortgage at this point. Rent has gotten so expensive. Just a 2-bedroom apartment where I'm located is $2,300 a month, and you have to make 3 times that rent. And the thing with having children is that when you have kids, you're more mindful of the area that you live in. When you have children and you have kids, you don't want to just live in any neighborhood. You want to live closer to maybe where there's parks and there's pools and there's a good school. So those things will cost you a lot more money. And of course, we got to talk about food because the kids got to eat, right? But food, like inflation, the other day, my husband bought eggs. I told him, I said, hey, babe, on your way to the store, just pick up some eggs. I ran out of eggs. I wanted to make brownies. I didn't have any eggs. And when he got home, I joked and I said, oh, those eggs probably cost you $40, LOL. How much did they cost? A dozen eggs cost him $8. I was shocked. If I was at the store, I would have left them. I would not have bought them. $8 for eggs. I'm gonna go buy some chickens at the end of the week. $8 just for some eggs. According to Investopedia, food prices have risen nearly by 30% since 2023. And most homes, they spend about 15 to 24% just on of their income just on food alone. And obviously this depends varying on like dietary choices and how big their household is. But to be spending about almost 25% of your income on food, and then every year it's going up and it's going up and it's going up, and you go to the store. I remember being a child and my mom was like, oh, I only have $20, I'm gonna go to the store real quick and just get a couple things. You want to come? And I'll go with her, and the cart would be full. And I was talking to my best friend and I was like, what type of voodoo was she doing that she was able to afford all this stuff with just $20? But of course, we laughed about it. Inflation has hit us so hard that $20, you probably can get what? One carton of eggs, maybe some orange juice, and a gallon of milk. There goes your $20 right there, 3 items. And then of course, you have some of your other miscellaneous stuff such as healthcare, education, and transportation. So obviously it depends. Do you have private insurance, government help when it comes to insurance? Are you insured through your employee and you have your children on the plan? As far as education, public school versus private school. And then transportation, of course, you got to put gas in your car, take them kids to school. Now, with that being said, if you want to incentivize people to start having more children, I feel like we need to help them when it comes to the everyday to day parts of raising a child. Giving somebody a bonus for having a kid, or giving them a little bit money at the end of the year for taxes, or the beginning of the year, however you look at it, for taxes, it's not enough. I feel like, one, the government should pay for the childbirth. That $5,000 baby bonus is not even enough to cover childbirth. It's not. The average cost, I was just looking it up. The average cost for childcare is about $13,393 without insurance. And if you do have insurance, it's about $16,391. I know they charge you more if you got insurance. It sucks, but it is what it is. And a lot of times insurance doesn't even cover it all because you have to meet your deductible. And usually your deductible is about $9,000 or $12,000, just depends on your plan and how much you pay, how much of a premium that you pay. So let's say your premium with your out-of-network, with your in-network out-of-pocket cost is about $9,000. Out of that $13,000 or $16,000, you still have to pay $9,000 to meet your deductible before they even cover anything else. And the messed up part about it is a lot of insurance has an in-network out-of-pocket, and then they have an out-of-network out-of-pocket. So you have to be really careful about what hospital you go to, because you can go to a hospital that's within your network, but then the doctor that works at that hospital, they may not be in your insurance network, which is so weird because, okay, yeah, they paid the hospital bill, but then you also get billed by the doctor separately, and they may not accept your insurance, and then you have to end up paying for that completely out of pocket. So like I said, I feel like the government should pay your hospital bill, that whenever somebody comes in and they want to, and not want to, but it's time for them to have the baby and deliver, I feel like the government should pay that outright, or at least take a good chunk of that money out. Secondly, I feel like baby items should be tax-free. And I think the government should look at that more like an investment, because we're investing into the fact that you have kids and that we're incentivizing you to shop for your kids and, you know, keep them up, keep them clean, buy them diapers, wipes, baby clothes. Because me personally, I don't think I've really bought a lot of clothing items. I might buy some things here or there, like if I'm going to a wedding or if I'm going on vacation, I need another swimsuit, something like that. But I still have clothes from when I was in college, and I was in college over 10 years ago. So I've been about the same size since college. I can't say the same thing for my babies. Literally, you buy them a piece of clothing today and it's too big. Next week you put it on and you could barely zip it up because now it's tight. They literally grow like weeds. And anybody who has children, they could attest to that and say the same exact thing that I'm telling you right now. So you're constantly having to buy baby items. One of the things I did appreciate that the census did a few years back in the state of Florida that really helped me, because that's when I had my first child, was he made all baby items years 3 and younger completely tax-free for I think about a year or 2 years. I don't really remember the specifics, but it was baby items that were tax-free. So it was clothing, diapers, and food. So I was able to stock up a lot of stuff, and I even bought clothing for my child up until the age of 3. I would just buy little items here and there just because I didn't have to pay taxes on it. While that may not be a lot of savings, but it's something. And one of the other things that I would do is, if I was in the government, is offer a way to help with childcare. And it shouldn't just be for those that are literally piss poor, because even somebody who's making $100,000 and you have 2 kids, you're still struggling. You're still struggling to make ends meet, especially with today's rent, the cost of food, the cost of clothing, and now because of these tariffs that were implemented, things are just going to go up. It would really help if you had some assistance with childcare. Me and my husband, we both have good jobs and we both make a decent amount of money. But a lot of people around us, either their wives don't work because it's too much for childcare, or the moms who do work, they have their moms or maybe a sister or somebody that they can have watch their kids for them. So a lot of nurses that I work with, they will work night shifts so that way they could be with their kids in the morning, take their kids to school, sleep while their kid is in school, wake up with them, pick them up from school, do what they have to do. And then they'll either have their mom or maybe their sister or somebody that they trust just stay with the child overnight while the child is asleep. So that way it's less headache on, the person. They don't have to be running around with the baby all day or the child all day. But then again, that's not everybody's situation. Some people really don't have a support system. They don't have friends that they trust enough to leave with their kid, or maybe they don't have grandparents that are willing or that are in the position where they can stay and watch the kids, because the age of retirement is 65, 64, but people are not even retiring at that age because they can't even afford to retire. You have people who are well past 65 who are in their 70s and they're still working because they have to. So I would offer some type of ways to subsidize childcare, and I don't think it should be solely based upon the way this metric is, where it's if you make this amount, then you qualify for childcare. I feel like they should look at things at an individual basis, because somebody who makes $100,000, they may not have a mortgage, they may not have a car note, and they're completely debt free. And so yes, it really doesn't hurt them to pay, $4,000 a month to watch their 2 kids, versus somebody else who has a car note, has a mortgage, they have student loans, and they probably accumulated this debt prior to having children. But life happens, and boom, you end up getting pregnant, but now you can't even afford childcare, and then you still have to go to work, especially if you're a single parent, or even if you're in a 2-parent household, it's still expensive. So I'm curious, what do you guys think? Do you guys feel that the Trump administration, they're going in the right direction as far as having the baby bonus and increasing the tax credit? Or are you like me, where you feel like, hey, it's not enough, there needs to be more that's done? And I feel like if somebody maybe, I know, listens to this video that's in the government, maybe you should consider implementing some of these things and look at it as you're investing into your future, because you guys take taxes from us every which way. And if you invest into these kids and more people start having babies, when they get older and they start working, they're paying taxes. It's kind of like getting a little bit of a return on your investment. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And since you guys are here, check out another video. But until next time, stay resilient.